All right, so this episode, I'm a little late on it. I wanted to get it done earlier and out to you guys sooner, but I'm a little late and it's not as in depth as I wanted it. But this is the first annual No Name podcast presented by Big C. I had to add the Big C part because there is other podcasts out there, I guess, with the No Name podcast, like No Name name. But this is the first annual Big C, Big College Football Preview. Um, it's gonna be, at least it's gonna. This is just gonna cover the Power Five conferences. I wanted to do all of the FBS, but just ran out of time and already missed. Week 0 was this past weekend, and there was a lot of good games on already. And tomorrow is Thursday, when this will probably be out. Well, is the Pitt West Virginia game, but I might drop something for the other group of 5 teams. Maybe like the top teams or top players for each team or something, like a quick video before this weekend. I might not, but this magazine right here, Phil Seal's College Football Preview Magazine. It's like 350 plus pages. Cover 2 pages for each team. As you can see, this is Miami, that detailed preview and all and stuff, and it has a bunch of other like information, but it is a college football Bible, hands down. Like ever since I found it, I think there's only been like maybe 4 or 5 years I didn't get it, but Kirk Herbstreit uses it. It's in he has it with him on College Game Day. All those announcers, broadcasters, whatever, they all have it. They all get it. It's so filled with information. Phil Steele is a GOAT when it comes to college football previews. He's done over 20, this is over 20, 25 years. Like he's done it. It is amazing. I used it for the notes to like get the notes I have. So like his opinion and his research that he's done, I have used that to help me come up with this preview video. But like I would like put my own opinion in it, of course. But but to be clear, how the order I have it in is how the magazine goes team to team. It goes by like the best conference and his opinion and from the stats he has to like the worst. The SEC is the best, and I want to say, let me check real quick. The MAC is considered the worst in FBS. That's like not a knock on them. It's just how they like based off the previous season. He like also does it. Then he does like the projections in each division of each conference, from what he thinks is going to be the best team to like the worst. So like, as you'll see, in the SEC East, for example, Georgia's number 1 and Vanderbilt is the last. But so I used his like a lot of the information from him. So like basically, how is it gonna work is I'm gonna go over like studs to prepare for. That's like their top players. Newcomers to watch. So that's transfers. Breakout boys. That's like guys that are pretty good, but like they, for whatever reason, aren't like like the stars of the team, but they're like solid players. And then I have young bucks to watch. That's typically going to be freshmen and redshirt freshmen. Maybe even some sophomores, redshirt sophomore, or like not redshirt sophomores, but true sophomores. And then I'll go over the prediction of what I think they're going to do. And then like some instant classics, or like shootouts, games that are to watch out for. So as I did this over a few weeks, so as you will notice, a lot of team as I get through the teams and go later on. Some there's a little bit more studs listed, a little bit more breakout players, or it's a little more detailed as I go down the teams. And I think if I could redo it and had more time, I'd do it a little bit differently. And not just because it's like first time doing it, I wasn't sure how I wanted to do it. But I've talked you guys' ear off for 5 minutes now. I'll actually let me before I forget, I'll get a piece of paper, I have one here, and write down the minute marks for like each conference in each division and where each thing is going to start. So I'll mark it as 6 minutes for this, and we'll hop into the SEC West and Alabama. So Alabama is the cream of the crop. Obvious studs, two big studs to prepare for. The two of the best college football players in the nation last year and this year. Bryce Young, Heisman Trophy winner last year. Will Anderson, outside linebacker. He was arguably the best defensive player in the nation last year. Aiden Hutchinson had a lot of praise and was valued by the Heisman Trophy Committee as being a better player, and a lot of people on like the internet and social media were a little upset about that. But Will Anderson will have another phenomenal year, I believe. And then you got Henry To'oTo'o, middle linebacker. He transferred from Tennessee last year, and he was at Bama last year, and he's a stud. He was watching Bama and Tennessee play in 2020. I was hyped because I was like, Tennessee's finally back being competitive. I don't ever even remember them being like super competitive other than when they had Joshua Dobbs at quarterback back in the mid 2010s, like 2014, 15, I want to say. Could be a little off. And it was a lot of big reason was because he was just he was the dude. And like they also have Jordan Battle, strong safety, Cameron Latou, tight end, he's stud. Emil Ekiyor at right guard. And I want to apologize to all these players if I pronounce their names. Should have done my research and found out how to pronounce a lot of them, but that'll be a note to do next year. But so I'm just gonna move on to some newcomers to watch, some transfer guys. Jahmyr Gibbs, Georgia Tech running back. He's actually impressed. Phil Steele noted that he impressed Nick Saban with his speed and vision. And if you heard anything, followed Georgia Tech at all, even a little bit, you would have known that Gibbs was a solid running back and at there. And that's with them. He was part of the transition from the triple option offense, the option offense that they used to run, and to like a different offense, more pro style. And so like the offensive line wasn't as good, the talent wasn't as good. It was very hard, but he stood out obviously because he's projected to be the starting running back for Alabama this year. Then at wide receiver you have Tyler Harrell from Louisville and Jermaine Burton from Georgia. Jermaine Burton, I think he's been injured some since he's been in college, but he was a highly recruited guy out of high school. Played in the Georgia offense, which isn't known for being great at passing the ball. And as you will see, they have studs at tight end, like lots of them. Like they're going to be tight end soon here. Sorry, George Kittle. Iowa is going to probably lose that title. And if you have watched any of the NFL preseason, George Pickens, who played in that Georgia offense, is so far doing very well in the NFL in the preseason. Of course, regular season will probably be a little bit different, but Burton should have a solid year and the new Bama offense. They also have Eli Ricks, cornerback from LSU. He was, uh, I won't say he was an All American as a freshman at LSU. He was one of the top DBs in the SEC, and that was, I can't remember the guy that they had back then, and I think that was 2019. I want to say, but I could be wrong. But and then they also got surprisingly they got Tyler Steen, left tackle from Vanderbilt. He's projected to start. So it's kind of interesting to see they get like a guy transferring from like what's considered the worst team in the SEC to one of the better teams. But it's just kind of goes to show that like football players can be good at lower level teams or not as good teams, and actually like that's like if you look at like the NFL and stuff, you see like guys all the time coming from like D2 or FCS or lower FBS schools and stuff and having great success. Some like also breakout boys. For Alabama, it's pretty much like also studs. Like I mean, they're just nuts. J.C. Latham, right tackle. The other running backs like Trey Sandal, not Sandal, Trey Sanders. Can't think of, kind of left out their names on my notes, but like just to give you some more names. Trey Sanders, Jace McClellan, and Roydell Williams are a couple of like names to like watch out for in the running back rotation. Alabama usually has a couple of good running backs. It seems like last year they pretty much just focused on Brian Robinson, but I think they had some injuries, if I do remember, with their other backs. You also got like their defensive secondary is good. I already said about Eli Ricks and Jordan Battle, but they got DeMarco Helms at free safety. Brian Branch is another solid safety that he'll probably be rotating in with them. Malachi Moore, solid nickelback. Kool-Aid McKinstry is a solid, good young corner. He was a true freshman last year. Look out for him to be really good. And then Will Anderson has a sidekick, Dallas Turner. I believe he was a true freshman last year, had like 8 sacks. So like watch out for him, with the focus going to be probably predominantly on Will Anderson, which will help him get freed up with Turner tearing it up. You got Brian Young and DJ Dale on the defensive line. Some young bucks to watch. So I got Jalen Milroy at quarterback. He probably won't play a super ton, but he is a very solid option. And like he just, from what I've seen talked about him about preseason, or like not preseason but spring ball, he looks very, very good. He's fast, he can throw very well, good dual threat. So maybe not so much to watch him take over for Bryce Young or anything. If Bryce Young stays healthy, during the blowouts, you'll want to watch Milroy at quarterback, see how he operates, and look not somebody like next year or maybe even the year after if Bryce Young decides to stay another year after this year to watch out for. They got like some other guys are like Tommy Brockermeyer, Earl Little, Deontay Lawson. Is a weak side linebacker. He's slated to start. Tommy Brockermeyer, I forgot to mention, is a left tackle, and Earl Little is a corner. So, like those guys to watch. I mean, and then for like my prediction for them this year, they're the favorite to win not only the SEC, but also the college football playoff. Like if they lose, I think they're gonna win it all. I highly doubt they'll lose them at all. Like lose to any of those championships. I think they're gonna win them all. And if they lose, like I feel like Georgia might beat them in the SEC championship, but they lost a lot this past year, as you will see. So I think Alabama's gonna win it all, and I gotta say probably 13 to 15 wins because I only see them losing maybe one or two games, if that. Um, some instant classics to watch out for. Like they're at Texas, Tennessee is another one to watch out for. Texas A&M. Now it's going to be a big game with the offseason chatter between Saban and Jimbo Fisher about like boosters and NIL and stuff. Now be like the players are fed up and it's gonna be a good one. Arkansas is also a game to watch out for. Um, like just mainly because of like the um Sam Pittman, the Arkansas head coach, the culture he's building and the way he wants to run that team is gonna be one to watch out for. Now on to Texas A&M. Some studs to prepare for are Aeneas Smith, wide receiver and halfback. I can't remember. I know he got suspended or could be suspended because he had some trouble with the law. Can't quite. I think that it was like possession of like marijuana maybe and something else, but I don't quote me on that. Um, Devin Achine or Chin, I don't even know. The other halfback, the one that runs track, he is a stud to watch out for. They got a solid offensive line led by Layden Robinson at right guard, and Bryce Foster is a breakout star or a breakout boy to watch out for at center. But they also and then their safeties are like really solid with Damani Richardson and Antonio Johnson, strong safety and free safety respectively, and like I've been seeing stuff where they're like the two of the top 10 or not top 10 top 5 safeties, coming going into the season for the next year's NFL draft class. Um, some newcomers to watch. Max Johnson, quarterback from LSU. He's 6'5", smart, great work ethic. Of course, according to Phil Steele's write up about the quarterbacks. Um, but I did see that the quarterback that's supposed to start because there was a battle between him and Haynes King, and Haynes King is supposed to be won this starting job. He runs a 4.4 speed. He has 4.4 speed. He can make all the throws, and he's had some experience last year. When I can't remember his name. Zach Cal's I think the new quarterback at Auburn. He went down and Haynes King took over and stuff. Some guys to watch out for, like breakout boys to watch out for, are like Chase Lane and Moose Muhammad at wide receiver. Edgerton Cooper he's a weak side linebacker in their defense. Miles Jones and Jalen Jones are two corners to watch out. So they have a very solid secondary, and they got like some pieces up front and stuff. And like especially with the recruiting class, some of the young bucks to watch are like the whole D line, specifically Walter Nolan. He's projected to start. So like they're young up front, but they're very highly touted recruits. Some other young guys to watch out for. Offensively, there's Connor Wigman. He's a quarterback. He probably won't play too much with two veteran guys in front of him. But there's also a running back, O.J. Johnson. I think he's listed as second or third string currently, or according to the magazine, which came out in June, so it might be a little off. Evan Stewart's a wide receiver, highly recruited. Jake Johnson's tight end, and cornerback Denver Harris is one to watch out for on defense as well. I think he was top 10 recruit, if not higher than that. So he's very, very good. I think they have the potential to win the SEC and challenge Bama and Georgia. College football playoff, maybe potentially. I think they also could lose 2 to 4 games. They'll be solid defensively and offensively again. Like quarterback play is the main thing. Jimbo Fisher usually gets the best out of quarterbacks. Going back to his time at Florida State with Jameis Winston, EJ Manuel, um, Christian Ponder, and I think he was there for a little bit with James Blackman, and he looked very solid before he got injured and Jimbo went to Texas A&M. Oh, also Kellen Mond at A&M. I could see him losing 2 to 4 games, but I think I already mentioned that, but that's okay. So they played Miami, Florida, Arkansas, Bama, and Ole Miss. Those are all going to be good games. Each team has a very solid quarterback, so it should be good, solid. Either for the most part, probably all be pretty good shootouts type games. Besides maybe Arkansas and Bama. Speaking of Arkansas, so some of the studs to prepare for Arkansas are KJ Jefferson, the quarterback. He's a big dude. He did good last year. I believe he'll be even better this coming season. He has great size at 245, and he's accurate. Raheem Sanders is a running back to watch out for. He's powerful speed at 225. Dominique Johnson, he has the best size of the running backs at 228, and he's a great blocker. So those are 2 guys that I believe they both had at least 500 yards last season. So better watch out for them. They should both be solid. And leading the offensive line that paved the way for them last year and helped turn Arkansas around is Ricky Stromberg. He's a center, second team SEC last year. And then 2 studs to prepare for mainly on defense. The main ones are Bumper Poole. He's a weak side linebacker in their scheme, and Jalen Calhoun, which he's listed as he's a former third team All-American. I believe he was hurt some last year. He's listed as MS. I don't know, like middle safety or something. He's a safety. I'm not sure exactly what MS stands for in their scheme, but he's a safety, so he should, like, those are the 2 guys you got to watch out for mainly on defense when you're on, like, watching them. Some newcomers to watch are Jaden Hazelwood and Matt Landers. Hazelwood is from Oklahoma, transfer from Oklahoma. He's a wide receiver. He'll be one to watch. And Matt Landers, transfer from Toledo. I think he was originally at Georgia, though. But those guys are 2 to watch. And then they got some guys on defense that transferred in. Landon Jackson's a DN from LSU, and Drew Sanders is middle linebacker from Bama. He's had some time there, and they got a couple other like SEC players that transferred in from like LSU and Georgia in the secondary. Some breakout boys are like Bo Limmer, right guard. He was 4th team SEC last year. AJ Green is running back. He runs a 10.3 100-meter. And then Malik Hornsby, QB / wide receiver, and he has track speed. So that's one guy. So when KJ Jefferson, if he goes down or when he leaves, Malik Hornsby could potentially take over for him. And he's done a good job. Like, he's also done a good job in spring at wide receiver, working there some. Some young bucks to watch. Brady Latham, left guard. Jaden Johnson, BS. That's another safety position. Miles Slusher is a nickelback to watch out for. I think they're going to be solid this year, and that they'll compete for the SEC West. 8 to 10 wins. O-line should be great as well as the running game. Heisman dark horse at QB. Like, I think he has a good chance if they can maybe have a Johnny Manziel-esque run for the Heisman. Like, upset Bama, lead them to 10 wins, or 10 to 12 wins, or whatever. If they can't, I think they're at least going to get, like, 10 wins. But KJ Jefferson's one to watch out for. They have solid defense with stars at two of the levels. Their D line isn't is going to be solid still. Some games to watch out for is they play Cincinnati, which they might drop off a little bit with how much they lost this year to the draft. Texas A&M, that will be a great game. Bama should be another great game. Then they also play BYU, which, the BYU's had a solid team. Now on to Mississippi, Ole Miss. You gotta watch out for AJ Finley at free safety and Otis Reese at strong safety for them. Nick Brocker or Broecker, or he's the left guard, third and fourth team SEC previously. You gotta watch out for the transfers from USC and Jackson Dart. He was the quarterback who had a good season, true freshman season last year, and he'll probably do amazing in Lane Kiffin's offense. Michael Trigg is a tight end from USC as well. He will be one to watch out for. They got two running back transfers in Zach Evans from TCU and Ulysses Bentley from SMU. Those are two to watch out for. I think there will be very solid running back options. They also got Jalen Robinson from UCF, wide receiver. They got a couple other guys. They got about 3 transfers on defense that are key, and another one on the offensive line. Some breakout boys to watch out for: Jonathan Mingo at wide receiver, Jeremy James left tackle, and Cedric Johnson at the buck position on defense, which is like a outside linebacker rush type position. Young guys to watch out for is Luke Altmaier, quarterback. I think they're going to have a really explosive offense because Lane Kiffin just does that. I think Jackson Dart will have great numbers in this offense, and they'll have an amazing passing offense. The defense is a little bit suspicious. I think they could get 10 wins maybe. We'll see. Now offense should be really good. You got to watch out for games against Kentucky, A&M, Bama, Arkansas, and of course the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State. Now moving on to Bama's biggest rival, Auburn. So for Auburn, you gotta watch out for Tank Bigsby. He's a stud running back, one of the best in the country right now. You also gotta watch out for John Samuel Schenker. He's a tight end for them. They got a solid O-line led by Keandre Jones. He's a right guard. Their defense is led by Owen Poe, middle linebacker, and their edge rusher and Derek Hall. Newcomers to watch: Zach Calzada, that's a quarterback from A&M. Once I had his name in front of me, I could pronounce it a little better. Also, they got Robbie Ashford from Oregon, quarterback. They got a couple Oregon transfers on the defensive side as well, and Jason Jones, he's a nose tackle, and they got a corner from Oregon as well, and DJ James. They got Craig McDonald from Iowa State. He's a BS in their scheme, which is a safety. I believe he was very solid at Iowa State. And then breakout boy that I believe got in trouble with the law. I'm not sure if he did get suspended or not. Is he signed a big NIL deal, like a record-breaking one, and then got in trouble. Is TJ Finley. He has great size at he's 6'7", 250 pounds. Dual threat. He's one. If he's not suspended, watch out for him. I don't know if this year would be the year he breaks out, or it might be the year leading up to the breakout. Kind of like, I'm not saying he's on Joe Burrow's level, but how Joe Burrow had a nice solid season in 2018 at LSU, and then in 2019 he broke out and was like amazing. But they got like Jarquez Hunter is another running back that can tag along with Tank Bigsby. They got like that's pretty much it. They got Cedric Jackson on offense at wide receiver to watch out for too. But I think he'll be focused on the running game. I mean, even one of the young buck, like pretty much the only young buck that I pointed out is Damari Olson. He's a running back, so like they're gonna have a strong running game. Actually, in my prediction, they're gonna have a strong running game with Tank Bigsby and Jarquez Hunter, and of course TJ Finley. He can run, so he'd be key to that. They're gonna have a good defense under Brian Harsin. He's had solid defenses at Boise State before he came here, and Auburn should have a solid defense. Passing game struggles are a possibility. I think they're gonna have a winning record. I didn't put how many wins I thought they were gonna get, but I think they could get 7 to 9 wins maybe. I was gonna say 7 to 8, but that's more like 7 or 8. But some games to watch out for: Penn State, LSU, Bama. I mean, I already mentioned the game against Arkansas as well. So just gonna like it's hard for like in conference games to not list them all because conference opponents are always tough, no matter what conference you're in. But moving on to, I believe, no, I got 2 more teams left in the SEC West, but moving on to Mississippi State. Will Rogers, quarterback. He is going to have a good season with Mike Leach. He had a good one last year. I believe he'll continue to have one. He has 2 solid running backs to help. I think they're pretty good at receiving the ball, catching the ball out of the backfield. And Dylan Johnson and Joquavius Marks. Defensively, I don't think they have as much talent as they have in the past. I can't remember his name. The old Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen. That's who it was. But they got Tyrus Wheat at strong linebacker and Emmanuel Forbes at corner. A couple of newcomers to watch are like Marcus Banks, cornerback from Bama, and Jackie Matthews, safety from West Virginia. Some breakout players to watch out for are Jaden Wally, Austin Williams, and Jameer Calvin at wide receiver. You got LaQuinton Sharp at center, and then you got a couple linebackers and Jet Johnson at weak side linebacker and Nathaniel Watson at middle linebacker. And then Sean Preston at nickel back. Some young bucks to watch. Our quarterback Sawyer Robertson, he loves the deep ball, which is a big thing in Mike Leach's offense. And Will Rogers did not do super great at throwing the deep ball, or didn't go after it a ton. Couple running backs to watch out for as well is Simeon Price. I'm not sure how to pronounce that first name. And then Trayvon Hargrove also. And they're going to have an explosive offense. Massive passing yards with Mike Leach. I mean, if you look back, he's the Hal Mummy offensive coordinator that helped come up with the air raid offense. Just look at the numbers he had at Texas Tech, with Graham Harrell and multiple other quarterbacks, and with the numbers he's had at Washington State with like Connor Holiday and other quarterbacks, and what he's done here at Mississippi State so far with not having just one quarterback. And it seems like it's been like a little bit of a revolving door. But I think they're going to be competitive and maybe get 8 wins. It's going to be interesting to see. Some key games are Memphis, A&M, Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss, of course. And now the last team in the SEC West is LSU, according to Phil Steele. You gotta watch out for John Emery at halfback. Keishon Butte is a wide receiver that you're gonna. He's supposed to be one of the best in the country, but I don't know. We'll see because of the issues at quarterback. But I think those will be resolved with Jaden Daniels, the transfer from Arizona State, who is going to be the starting quarterback for them. What he did his freshman year against Oregon to like to upset them was good. He's been solid. I think he's going to have a great season at LSU. Another transfer, a couple other transfers to watch out for are Noah Cain, running back from Penn State, Tremont Shorts from Eastern Tennessee State. He's a left guard. He was second team All American for at FCS level. Some guys defensively are like Mika Wingo, D lineman from Missouri. They got a couple cornerbacks from like Ohio State and Oklahoma State, and I think they're going to be very solid there with like the guys they got. Some guys to watch out for on defense are they got two very solid DNs, and Mike Jones at middle linebacker is somebody to watch out for. A guy that I think will hurt them leave that just left recently that I had as a breakout boy is Miles Brennan. He was a quarterback. He's left the team. He was one to watch out for, but they got a couple young bucks to watch in Garrett Nussmeier and Walker Howard. They got some other young guys to watch out for that are very highly recruited. I think they're going to be competitive because it is LSU and it's Brian Kelly. Even with his fake Southern accent, I think should be all right. I think they have a stud at quarterback, halfback, and wide receiver. I think Jaden Daniels is a very talented quarterback and one to watch out for. The rest of the team is not as good as LSU usually has been, in my opinion, but it is LSU. I won't ever count them out. It's hard though because thinking historically can get you in trouble. But Florida State is a game to watch out for. Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Alabama, like things like that. It's gonna be interesting to see how it goes. And I'm just making a note of how we are now going to the SEC East. So some studs to prepare for are Stetson Bennett. He's in number 4 in FBS pass efficiency last year. He is the mailman. They got studs at tight end: Brock Bowers, Eric Gilbert, Darnell Washington. They got good offensive line led by Warren Erickson. Their defense is going to be solid, led by Jalen Carter at nose tackle, Nolan Smith at linebacker, and Keely Rango at corner, and Christopher Smith at strong safety. Some breakout boys to watch are like Kendall Milton, Kenny McIntosh, and Dejon Edwards at halfback, Dominic Blaylock, Lad McConkey, and Adoni Mitchell at wide receiver. They got a couple of tackles to watch out for. The offensive line should be very solid. The secondary looks nice as well. Oscar Delp is a tight end. That's a young buck to watch out for. He probably won't play like a ton this year, but he was very highly recruited, so watch out for him in the next few years. At quarterback, there's some young guys to watch. Carson Beck, Brock Vandergriff, Gunnar Stockton. Those are some highly recruited guys to watch out for to take over for the mailman after this year. I think they're going to be SEC East champs. I think they could even win it, the SEC, and be in a college football playoffs. I believe they're becoming a new Bama. They're just, not rebuild, just reload. I think they're going to improve the passing game. It's going to be tight end heavy and run game heavy though, just because it's going to that's where their talent's at. Like not maybe not necessarily talent, but like that's what they're good at. They got a lot of good tight ends. It'd be stupid not to use all of them. I think the defense should be excellent still because it's Kirby Smart, even with the massive losses. But there are young studs all over the defense. Um, Games to watch out for are like Oregon, Tennessee, Kentucky. They play Florida every year. It's the rivalry games and stuff. Maybe South Carolina could sneak up on them, but no team might sneak up on them that they should be prepared for is Tennessee. They got Hendon Hooker at quarterback. He's surrounded by Jabari Small at halfback, Cedric Tillman at wide receiver. You got Jalen Wright at halfback as well, and Jalen Height at wide receiver. They also have a newcomer to watch out for in Brew McCoy, wide receiver from USC. He hasn't lived up to the hype quite as much come out as he had come out of high school, but he should hopefully turn it around here. They also got a left tackle from Florida and Gerald Mincy. Defensively, they got a lot of guys that are going to be good. They got Brian Young at their Leo spot, which is like a DN outside edge player. Jeremy Banks at weak side linebacker and Aaron Beasley at middle. Trayvon Flowers is a free safety. Let me see. So they got like some guys up front that are going to be good. And Tyler Barron, Latrell at DN, Latrell Bonfils at D tackle, Amari Thomas, he's a 320-pound D tackle. Jawan Mitchell at Mike. And they got a couple other guys that are pretty solid. On the offensive line, two guys to watch out for that were interviewed by Bustin' with the Boys in their spring tour are Cooper Mays at center. His brother just left the program and was very solid, just graduated. And at left guard, Jerome Carvin. So they should be very good. I think they're going to compete for the SEC East. 9 to 10, 11, 9 to 11 wins, I think they're going to win with solid defense and good offense. I mean, if Hendon Hooker goes down, he's been seen as like a possibly Heisman sleeper, but if he goes down, they have Joe Milton at quarterback. He could do very well. They play Pitt this year now. It should be a great game. Florida, Bama, Kentucky, Georgia, SEC schedule. So some studs to prepare for are Anthony Richardson for Florida. I might just mess that intro up so bad. But Anthony Richardson for Florida is a guy to watch out for. He is dynamic. He's a dynamic runner. He's clocked at 21 miles per hour this past season. That's freaking fast. He can escape and extend plays. I mean, if you watched Florida at all last year, you've seen him play plays. They got like a good big wide receiver in Justin Shorter. He's like 6'5", 228. Defensively, they got Gravon Dexter at D tackle, Trey Dean at strong safety, and a stud at a jack position in the defense, which is an edge rusher, edge player, and Brenton Cox. Some newcomers to watch out for are like Jack Miller, quarterback from Ohio State. He got hurt. I think he's out for the season. You got Montrell Johnson, running back from Louisiana, which your head coach, I can't remember his name to save my life, but he came from Louisiana. They also got a right guard Osiris Torrance from Louisiana. They got a couple other transfers. Some guys to watch out for are like Naquan Wright and Lorenzo Lingard at halfback, as well as Demarlis Bowen. Kingsley Equaquan is a center that is very solid. Desmond Watson, nose tackle, 6'5", 415 pounds. Enough said. Some other guys to watch out for like Ventrell Miller and Rashad Torrance, weak side linebacker and free safety respectively. Some young bucks to watch are like Jalen Kitna, quarterback. I'm not sure if he's related to John Kitna or not. And then they got about 6 guys on defense to watch out for that are pretty young guys, like 3 in the secondary. So they should be very solid here in the future. I think they're gonna go 7 to 9 win season this year. It'll be rough under a new head coach. Their offense should have a good run game with his history that he has. The defense should be solid. The D line doesn't have much depth, but they should be pretty solid this year. They play Utah first week. That'll be a great game to watch. I think Utah will get the win. Kentucky, they play Tennessee and Florida State. Of course, Georgia. That's a game to watch out for. Now moving on to Kentucky, Will Levis, quarterback. Best quarterback in the draft class? Some said so before this season. We'll see how it turns out. He is a very solid dual threat. I think he is a very good stud. They got Christopher Rodriguez, who's a stud as well at halfback. They got 2 solid linebackers in Jaquez Jones and DeAndre Square. They have some solid transfers coming in that should help out. And then some guys to watch, like breakout boys, are Justin Rogers, nose tackle. He's 6'3", 336 pounds. So he's a big boy. Carrington Valentine at corner and J.J. Weaver at jack. Couple other guys as well. They're going to be very solid defensively. Some young guys to watch out for. They got a left tackle at 6'8", 330 and Keontae Goodwin. And they got Barian Brown and Dane Key at wide receiver. Dane Key is a projected starter. So I think they're going to get 8 to 10 wins this year. Mark Stoops. He's built a very solid program at a basketball school. They have a stud halfback, dark horse top quarterback. Defense is consistently good, and they have pieces and key spots. Some instant classics are like Florida, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Missouri, Georgia, Louisville. Watch out for Louisville. That should be a great game between Will Levis and Malik Cunningham at quarterback for both teams respectively. So South Carolina, their team, I think, is a very good sleeper. They got Jaheim Bell at tight end, Brad Johnson at weak side linebacker, R.J. Roderick, strong safety, and Cam Smith at nickelback. I've seen some really good stuff about Cam Smith and Jaheim Bell. They got Spencer Rattler at quarterback, transfer from Oklahoma. He is going to do very well. I think he is a stud. I think he got done a little dirty at Oklahoma, but I think he's going to turn stuff around at South Carolina and do really good. He brought his running mate and Austin Stogner. He's tight end. They got a couple good transfers at halfback. They got Antoine Wells from James Madison. He was a second-team FCS All-American at wide receiver. And they got Corey Rucker from Arkansas State. He was a second-team Sunbelt last year. They're going to be very good. They also got Devontae Reed from Central Michigan. He's a free safety, so that helps your defense out. Some breakout boys to watch out for, like Marshawn Lloyd at running back and Juju McDowell. He's a Swiss Army knife at halfback there. Dylan Wanham was the right tackle to watch out for. I've heard great things about him before in the past. I think they're going to get 7 to 9 wins. Like I said, they're a sleeper team. Their offense should be solid with a stud quarterback, and I think they have 2 stud tight ends. And I think their defense has some quality pieces as well throughout. Games to watch out for are like Arkansas, Kentucky, A&M, Missouri, Florida, Tennessee, Clemson. The Clemson game should be really good, especially if they both have good seasons. So now moving on to Missouri, some studs to watch out for. They got one of the top DN duos in the country in Isaiah McGuire and Trajan Jeffcoat. They got a couple solid safeties as well, and Martez Manuel and Jalen Carlies. Some newcomers to watch out for: Jack Abraham, he's a summer miss quarterback transfer. Nathaniel Pete from Stanford, halfback, as well as another halfback to watch out for that transferred in is Cody Schrader. He's a D2 guy. They got some guys on defense that transferred in. One that sticks out is DJ Coleman from Jackson State, 2-time FCS. Or Jacksonville State, my apologies, not Jackson State, but he's a 2-time FCS All-American at the end. They brought in a lot of D-line help, and it should do very well for them. Breakout boys, the quarterback, Brady Cook. He's got to watch out for. Mookie Cooper, wide receiver. He's a young guy. I think he's only like a true sophomore. Gotta watch out for a couple of linebackers that they have, like Devin Nicholson and Chad Bailey. Some young bucks to watch are like Sam Horn at quarterback. Luther Burden, wide receiver. He's like one of the best wide receivers in the country, and he chose to stay home at Missouri. I think they're gonna get 5 to 7 wins. It'll be rough with they have a very young offense. Their DN duo is strong. And I think that'll keep them in games, and their D-line has very good depth. I just think the SEC is kind of hard to win in sometimes, but they play Kansas State. And that's going to be a good game. Kind of Big 12 type, old Big 12 type game. They also play other key games to watch out for, like Auburn, Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee. Speaking of the state of Tennessee, Vanderbilt, which is in Nashville, they just won their first game of the season against UConn. They did very well, and I will mention one guy who started in that game here in a moment. But some studs to watch out for are like Julian Hernandez. He's a center for him. They got some good defensive guys, and like Davion Davis at D tackle, Michael Owusu at DN, Anthony Orjai at weak side linebacker, and Ethan Barr at Mike. And they also got BJ Anderson at corner. Now, the guy that I was just mentioning that had a really good game against UConn is quarterback Mike Wright. He's a runner. He did very good. The guy he was in competition with at a quarterback spot is Ken Seals. You might also want to watch out for him. They got a couple running backs to watch out for, and Raymond Davis, Rocco Griffin, and Patrick Smith. Some young bucks to watch are like Daniel Martin at strong linebacker and J-Dace Richard at free safety. I think they're going to have another bad year, though, even though they have a very solid linebacking core and their defense should be very decent. It's just the SEC, it's just too hard. And they're like an Ivy League level private school, like kind of like Stanford and Northwestern and Duke are as well. So it's going to be interesting. I put down some instant classics as like Hawaii, South Carolina, and Northern Illinois. Hopefully I'm wrong, and I hope they have a really good season. I don't know, it's maybe 3 wins, 3 to 5, I'll say. Now I am going to move on to the Big Ten. And gonna call it 59 minutes. Might be a few seconds off, but I like to talk, so it's okay. So Ohio State is a cream of the crop. CJ Stroud is a stud. Trayvon Henderson, stud. Jackson Smith Njigba, stud. Paris Johnson, stud. Ronnie Hickman, stud. I think the only ones that people really don't know is Paris Johnson's a left tackle. Ronnie Hickman's a safety. They got a couple transfers. I think the main one is going to be Tanner McAllister. He's going to be like the nickel safety type. He's from Oklahoma State. That's where their new D coordinator's from. Some breakout boys to watch out for is Mayon Williams at halfback. He's a bowling ball. 3 wide receivers to remember: Marvin Harrison Jr., Julian Fleming, and Emike Egbuka. They got like their D line to watch out for as well, and JT Tamula, probably butchered that name. Tyleek Williams, Teron Vincent, Zach Harrison, and Jack Sawyer. Those are 3 solid DNs and 2 solid D tackles. They got a good linebacking core and Steel Chambers at weak side, and at Mike they got 3 solid options in Tommy Etchenberg, Cody Simon, and Teroja Mitchell. I apologize again for the butcher of names. You got Cameron Brown, Denzel Burke at corner, and then Court Williams and Josh Proctor at safety as well. Some young guys to watch out for: Kyle McCord and Devin Brown at quarterback. I don't think they'll play much behind CJ Stroud. Evan Pryor at halfback, and Caleb Burton, at wide receiver. I think they got a great chance to go undefeated and win the Big Ten and make the college football playoff and possibly the Natty. I think they got Heisman favorite at quarterback, halfback. They got a great wide receiver core who's supposed to be a Heisman hopeful. Their D-line is stacked with 14 VHTs, which stands for very highly touted. That's a Phil Steele reference as well, and they'll be good as usual. Linebackers have more depth and experience, and the secondary should be solid with like their new D coordinator. Some games to watch out for are like Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Iowa, Michigan. So Michigan is a team that is going to be one to watch as well. I don't think they'll be as good as last year, but some studs to watch out for like Blake Corum at halfback, Ronnie Bell at wide receiver, Eric All at tight end. Their offensive line is very good. And Zach Center at guard, or Trevor Keegan at guard, Ryan Hayes at left tackle. They got Maisie Smith at D tackle, and they got a Groza winner from last year and Jake Moody. They got a good transfer at center from Virginia at Olawatami. I feel so terrible that anyways, so interesting thing with their quarterback situation: Cade McNamara is starting week 1, JJ McCarthy is starting week 2. Then they will decide who starts week 3 and be the starting quarterback. Now it's going to be interesting. They're both very talented, so it'll be nice to see how it goes. Some other guys to watch out for are like Donovan Edwards at halfback, Cornelius Johnson at wide receiver, Luke Schoonmaker at tight end. On defense, they got like 3 very good linebackers, good secondary, DJ Turner and Rod Moore. Some young guys to watch out for are like Davis Warren. He's a quarterback, walk on with an NFL arm. Got another quarterback that's a dangerous runner. That's a young guy. And they got quite a few young guys that should be like good here in the future. Their own line and their run game will continue to be one of the best in the country. I think their QB play should improve no matter who starts. I think their defense will regress some with the losses of David Ojobu and Aiden Hutchinson, but I think they'll still be solid. And they lost some other guys. I think Daxton Hill was their safety that they lost as well. I think they're going to have 10 wins or more while competing for the Big Ten. Games to watch out for are like Iowa, Penn State, Michigan State, Nebraska, and of course, Ohio State. Speaking of Penn State, I think some guys you got to watch out for when you go to play them are Sean Clifford at quarterback, Parker Washington at wide receiver, and Drew Scruggs at center. Joey Porter at cornerback is another one to watch out for. They got some very solid transfers. I think they should have a running back breakout. Even though I do believe they have a true freshman in Nicholas Singleton projected to be the starter. They got some decent options at tight end and Brenton Strange and Theo Johnson to watch out for. And Keandre Lambert-Smith at wide receiver is a guy to watch out for. Defensively, they got P.J. Mustapher. He's a nose guard at 6'4", 326 pounds. Hakeem Beeman, Nick Tarburton. They got Curtis Jacobs at weak side linebacker, and they got two solid safeties. So I think they should be very good. And they got like quite a few young guys that are coming in to watch out and stuff. I think they have a question mark at quarterback. The offense will have some struggles, but they have potential. Defense will be very solid. D-line and DBs are the strength. I mean, like, James Franklin was quoted as saying that he feels they have 3 cornerbacks and 5 safeties to rotate, and it is a strength. So they got a pretty good secondary. You gotta watch out for the game against Purdue, Auburn, Northwestern. They're coming off an upset against Nebraska, but I'm not sure what week, but it'll be later in the season that they play each other. They play Michigan, Minnesota, Ohio State, Maryland, Michigan State. So a lot of good games. Speaking of Michigan State, you gotta watch out for Peyton Thorne at quarterback for them. Jaden Reed, Trey Mosley at wide receiver. Defensively, they got Jacob Slade at D tackle, Cal Holiday at Mike, Darius Snow at nickel, and Xavier Henderson at safety. They did get some key transfers, and Jarek Brozard. I think it got auto corrected. At halfback, and Jalen Berger from Wisconsin. Halfback, Brozard is from Colorado. Some guys to watch out for, like Jordan Simmons, he's a halfback. Malik Carr, he's a tight end. Jeff Petrosky, DN, and Simeon Barrow. They got some like young guys to watch out for. They got some good wide receivers. They have Antonio Gates. I'm not sure if that's Antonio Gates, a tight end son or not, but he's a wide receiver to watch out for. I think their defense will be their strong suit once again. They have a stud QB with some quality wide receivers. The running game should be good with like the backs they got. And the O-line is inexperienced, but I still think they should have a decent season. They play Washington, Minnesota, Maryland, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Michigan. All should be very good games. Now Maryland, Tua Tagovailoa, Tua's younger brother, is a stud quarterback there. They also got 2 stud wide receivers in Raheem Jarrett and Dante Demas. They got some quality offensive linemen as well. Their defense doesn't look terrible. They got Greg Chana-Rose at jack, which is like an edge position for them. Jacorian Bennett at corner. They have a big nose tackle that's 320 pounds. And Amy Fanui. I'm not sure. Some guys to watch out for that are transferring in are like Jacob Copeland from Florida. He's a wide receiver. And Vendarius Cohen, he's a Sam linebacker from West Virginia. Big loss for West Virginia, in my opinion. Some guys that could break out are like Kobe McDonald and Jashawn Jones at wide receiver. Their offensive line, pretty much everywhere, has guys that could break out. A couple linebackers as well, like Ruben Hippolyte and Fanaji Gote. Deontay Banks is a corner to watch out for. Some young guys to watch out for are like Ramon Brown at halfback and Preston Howard at tight end. I think they're going to get like 6 to 8 wins and could be a surprise contender for the Big Ten East. The offense should be stellar with studs at QB and wide receiver. The O-line is experienced, and a running back I think should emerge. Defense has some solid pieces in place and should be decent. Some key games are like SMU, Michigan State, Purdue, Wisconsin, Ohio State. Now moving on to Indiana, we have some studs to prepare for, and DJ Matthews at wide receiver, Cam Jones at linebacker, Tawan Mullen, Jalen Williams at corner, and Devin Matthews at strong safety. 2 key transfers that are coming in are Connor Basilick, from quarterback from Missouri, and Sean Shivers, running back from Auburn. And then they also have J.H. Tevis from Cal at D-tackle coming in. Some breakout guys to watch out for are like Bryant Fitzgerald at the Husky position. And they got Nick James at D-tackle. He's a young guy to watch out for. I think they could get 5 wins. Sneaky Bull team should have better quarterback play, but not many proven offensive weapons. They have a decent transfer at tailback and Shivers, and I think the defense should be decent with nice D-line depth, some quality backers, and a good secondary. Games to watch out for are Illinois, Cincy, Nebraska, Maryland, Penn State. Now moving on to one of the worst teams in the Big Ten is Rutgers, and it's like Kyle Monaghay is a halfback. He's shifty and can run between the tackles. Aaron Young is another halfback. Sells at receiver. Keontae Hamilton is a DN for them. He's a heavyweight college wrestler. And they got 2 good safeties, and one of them is Avery Young at free safety. They got some solid transfers on the offensive line that should help out. Quarterback, some guys to watch out for like Gavin Wimsatt and Noah Verdraw. Overall, it's going to be a tough year for Rutgers. They got some young guys that should be pretty nice, but it's going to be a rough year for them. But I think they could make a bowl game. I think they found the quarterback to build around the next 4 years, but I don't know. It's Rutgers. They do have some pieces on defense, especially on the D-line. Temple, Indiana, Penn State, Maryland are some guys to watch out for. Now I am going to go on to the Big Ten West, and it is going to be like Wisconsin. They got Braylon Allen at tailback, Ches Malusi at tailback. Got a great line. Defensively, they're always going to be solid. They got Nick Herbig at outside linebacker, Keone Benton at nose tackle, Isaiah Mullins at DN. Some newcomers to watch are Keontae Lewis at wide receiver from UCLA. Got some other key transfers. Some breakout guys to watch out for are Graham Mertz, quarterback, and CJ Goetz at outside linebacker, and John Torek at free safety, and Hunter Wooler at strong safety. Gotta watch out for Deacon Hill at quarterback. He's a young guy, strong-armed. I think they're going to compete for Big Ten West and Big Ten on 10-win potential, strong running game, great defense. QB should improve and become the guy, but no proven weapons, so it's gonna hurt Mertz again. Key games are like Ohio State, Michigan State, Purdue, Maryland, Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota. Moving on to their biggest competition, I believe, in Iowa, they got Sam Laporta to watch out for at tight end, Mason Richmond at left tackle. Defensively, got two good linebackers in Seth Benson and Jack Campbell. Those guys are studs. Riley Moss is a stud at corner. Some breakout guys are like Spencer Petrace and Alex Padilla at quarterback. Gavin Williams and LaShawn Williams at halfback. Keegan Johnson, Nico Ragini at wide receiver. At nickelback, Justin Jacobs. He's 6'4", 236, so more like a linebacker. Kayvon Merriweather at strong safety and Jamari Harris at corner. They got some young guys to watch out for, like mainly offensively. Free safety, they're gonna have a true freshman starting in Xavier Nwankpa. Man, I'm butchering these names like crazy. They're gonna get like 10 wins, compete for the West and Big Ten. They're gonna have a good running game, great defense as usual. They got two great linebackers and a great corner, stud tight end as well, like tight end U. Games to watch out for: Iowa State, Michigan, Ohio State, Purdue, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nebraska. Speaking of Minnesota, Tanner Morgan. I think he is a very good quarterback. They have a very good running back in Mohammed Ibrahim. They got a good wide receiver in Chris Autumn-Bell. Good tight end Brevin Spanford. Good center at John Michael Smits. They got a couple good safeties. Good linebacker. Like, this is a team to watch out for. They got some good transfers as well. Help out on offensive line. Defense as well. Watch out for Dylan Wright, Michael Brown-Stevens at wide receiver, and Daniel Jackson as well. Defensively, Cho Carter at D tackle and Thomas Rush at the rush position, ironically. I think they're going to do 8 to 10 wins, compete for the West. They got a good veteran quarterback, stud halfback, decent wide receivers. Their defense should be solid, especially at safety. I mean, they got two very good safeties. Games to watch out for against Colorado, Michigan State, Purdue, Penn State, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin. Nebraska is a team to watch out for as well. They lost to Northwestern. Northwestern is a very good program though under Pat Fitzgerald, but Nebraska they have to do better than what they did. But they got studs, and Garrett Nelson, he's an outside linebacker / D end. Luke Reamer, inside linebacker. Nick Heinrich, inside linebacker. Quentin Newsom, cornerback. Come on, dude. Will Compton would be disappointed in not how you guys personally play, but the outcome of the game against Northwestern. Come on, gotta do it. Gotta earn those black shirts. Some newcomers to watch: Casey Thompson, transfer from Texas. He is a stud. He did amazing in that game against Northwestern, and he threw a great pass to another transfer in Isaiah Garcia Castanda from New Mexico State. They also got Trey Palmer from LSU and Marcus Washington from Texas, and they got some other good quality transfers throughout the team. Some breakout guys to watch out for: Amir Johnson at tailback and Marquise Steep as well. They have a big right guard and Bryce Benhart. He's 6'9", 330. They got a good tight end in Travis Volklick. Watch out for him. Some young guys to watch out for are Jaquez Yant. He's 6'2", 245. Gabe Irvin, they're both running backs. Dakotas Crawford, wide receiver. I mean, he's Dakotas. I think they got potential to compete for the West, 7 to 9 wins. They got a good quarterback, good pieces on defense, especially at linebacker. Um, as Will Compton said, they were the best 3-9 team ever last year. Oklahoma, Purdue, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa are some games to watch out for. And I should have put Northwestern as well because that was a good game over in Ireland. Team to watch out for that I think will be very sneaky is Purdue. They got Aiden O'Connell. He's an accurate quarterback, former walk on. They got Payne Durham at tight end to help him out. On defense, they got Jalen Graham. He's an NFL caliber linebacker. He plays strong linebacker for him. Some newcomers to watch out for are like Samson James from Indiana, tailback Tyrone Tracy, and Charlie Jones, both wide receivers from Iowa. They got some other key transfers throughout the team. Some guys to watch out that might break out is like Brock Thompson at wide receiver, Jack Sullivan at D end. I mean, they're going to be very solid. They got a couple young guys to watch out for. Michael Alamo at quarterback, he's 6'4", 225, athletic with strong arm. And Brady Allen, who is 6'6", and also works with the quarterback coach that is the same one that Aiden O'Connell has. I think they're going to be explosive offensively, especially passing wise. It's just how they've been. They got a star quarterback, and he has weapons. So watch out. Defense has some pieces spread throughout, anywhere from 6 to 9 wins, I feel. Some key games are like Penn State, Syracuse, Minnesota, Maryland, Nebraska, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Now let's go into the upset of last week in Northwestern. Some guys you gotta watch out for are like Evan Hall at halfback, Peter Skrowski at left tackle, Bryce Gallagher at Mike, and AJ Hampton at corner. They had some guys transfer in. Wendell Davis at weak side linebacker was one to watch out for. Some breakout boys that had listed prior to this season is Ryan Helinski at quarterback, Cam Porter at tailback, as well as Anthony Tice and Andrew Clare. Some wide receivers like Malik Washington as well. Cameron Mitchell at corner, Coco Azima at safety, and Rod Hurd as well. And I said they were going to do 5 to 8 wins. They're always a solid team, especially on defense, specifically at linebacker. I said I believe in Helinski. I believe in him. I believe he's a solid piece. They have some solid pieces throughout the roster as well, especially at left tackle. He's an NFL caliber guy. Think Rashawn Slater a couple years ago from Northwestern. Kind of like that type of vibe. Some games to watch out for. One I listed was Nebraska. Duke, Miami, Ohio, Penn State, Wisconsin, Maryland, Iowa, Ohio State. Now the last team in the Big Ten is Illinois. You gotta watch out for Chase Brown. He runs tailback. You know, the 10.700 meter. He can do it all. Josh McCray, powerful runner. He's 6'1", 240. So they got two good tailbacks. Isaiah Williams is a wide receiver you gotta watch out for. He was a former quarterback. Luke Ford at tight end is solid. You gotta watch out for Tyreek Barnes at Mike, Keith Randolph, and Jerzon Newton at DN, and Sidney Brown at strong safety. They had a Tommy DeVito transfer from Syracuse and to play quarterback, and they also still have Arthur Stekowski as well. You gotta watch out for like Casey Washington at wide receiver, Calvin Avery. He's a big nose guard at 6'2", 335. And they also have a number one, Erdis Brown. He's 6'4", 345. Watch out for Seth Coleman and at linebacker, as well as linebackers Calvin CJ Hart and Jartavius Martin at star. some young guys to watch are like Reggie Love at tailback. I think they're going to be fighting for a bowl game, anywhere from 4 to even 8 wins. Solid. They got some solid pieces on defense and offense. They just need to figure out the QB situation. The run game should be great. And the tight end should be, and Luke Ford should be one to watch out for. Some key games are Virginia, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, Michigan State, Purdue, and Michigan. So now on to the ACC, and I believe it starts out with Clemson. Yes, it does. DJ, I can't pronounce that name, but if you know anything about college football, you know about DJ, Big Cinco, as Dabo Sweeney calls him. And Dabo actually said he has more arm talent than any Clemson QB he's had. You also got to watch out for running backs Will Shipley and Kobe Pace. Their D line is filled with studs, and like Xavier Thomas and Miles Murphy at the end, Rook Orhoro, and Tyler Davis, Brian Brees at D tackle. You gotta watch out for Trenton Thompson at linebacker and Andrew Mukba at safety. Some newcomers to watch out for are like Hunter Johnson. He used to be here at Clemson originally. And they got a lot of guys to watch out for. Got a couple wide receivers, actually more than just a couple, but I'll just highlight a few. And Joseph Gata and EJ Williams. They got Dallas Allen at tight end. They got some offensive linemen to watch out for as well. Defensively, some other breakout guys are like KJ Henry at the end. Jeremiah Trotter at Mike. Levanta Bentley at linebacker as well, and Sheridan Jones at corner. Young bucks to watch are like Cade Klubnik at quarterback and Antonio Williams at wide receiver. I think DJ will have a bounce back year. Wide receivers have talents. Halfbacks are solid. D-line is full of studs and deep. Linebackers, not much experience, but they're very talented. I think Clemson puts it together and gets at least 11 wins and could win the ACC as well as the college football playoff. Some key games are against Wake Forest, NC State, Boston College, Florida State, Notre Dame, Miami, South Carolina. Team that I think can be very good against them and could beat them for the ACC Atlantic title is North Carolina State. They got a stud in Devin Leary at quarterback. Thayer Thomas is a crafty and reliable wide receiver. Devin Carter is a deep threat at wide receiver as well. They got 3 amazing linebackers in Drake Thomas, Isaiah Moore, and Peyton Wilson, and a good free safety in Tanner Engel, and they got a good D end in Corey Durden. I think some guys to watch out for are like Porter Rooks at wide receiver, CJ Clark at nose tackle, Devin Beatty at linebacker, as well as Jalen Scott. Derek Pitts and Shaheem Battle at corner. Some young guys to watch out are like Ben Finley at quarterback and Michael Allen at tailback. I think they should compete for the Atlantic and the ACC. 9 to 11 wins sound good. They got a stud quarterback, playmakers out wide. Defense has pieces everywhere. Linebackers are one of the best units in the country. 3 studs are starting there, and they have experienced backups. You don't know how important that is to defense. It's going to be good. Some instant classics are like Clemson, Florida State, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, Boston College, Louisville, and North Carolina. And speaking of stud quarterbacks, Wake Forest has one in Sam Hartman. He is away from the team and will miss at least the first game. They don't know when he's going to be back. They've kind of kept it quiet about like what's going on. So hopefully whatever's going on with him, he can take care of and worry about football later. I don't have his backup written down, I don't believe. Yeah, I do not. But they got a good wide receiver at and A.T. Perry. They got a good offensive line led by Michael Jurgens at center. Um, they got some good pieces on defense as well, and such as Kalen Carson at corner. They got Chase Jones at linebacker and Nick Anderson at strong safety. Those are some guys that are pretty solid. They gotta watch out for Donovan Green on offense at wide receiver as well. So Hartman, like I said, in my prediction, I said if Hartman is able to play, they should get 9 to 11 wins and be up there with Clemson and North Carolina State. Hartman is a stud. He is a stud. And they have very good pieces on offense and a solid line. The defense is solid as well, even though they do lack experience at linebacker, but they should still be solid. I love what their head coach has built this program into. But some key games to watch out for are Clemson, Boston College, Louisville, North Carolina State, North Carolina. It all depends on if Hartman can come back and when he can come back, if he can. The ACC has a lot of good returning quarterbacks, as you will see the trend continue for most of the teams. But in Louisville, you have Malik Cunningham at quarterback, Marshawn Ford at tight end, going to be a great target for him. They got some guys on defense that are pretty good as well. They got quite a bit of transfers, so that should help out a lot. So I think Jalen Mitchell and halfback should be a breakout guy, contender. Trayvon Kohler as well. He has good vision and protects well. They got some offensive linemen that should be breaking out. I think they're going to get 7 to 9 wins. They have an explosive offense with a stud at quarterback and a stud tight end, and they have some other weapons, and they have one of the best O-lines in the ACC. Defense has some good pieces. Secondary should be a big strength for them. They got a bunch of important games like UCF, Florida State, Boston College, Virginia, Pitt, Wake Forest, Clemson, NC State, and Kentucky. Florida State. It'd be so good if they were good, because I think it's better for college football if they're good. But I think they could do better this year. They did beat Duquesne last week, but I don't know. They got Jordan Travis at quarterback, Dylan Gibbons at left guard, Fabian Lovett at nose tackle, Robert Cooper at D tackle. He's 338 pounds, and they got Jamie Robinson at free safety, so they should be good. They also had some big transfers in Trey Benson from Oregon. He's a tailback, one of the fastest on the team. Michael Pittman, Oregon wide receiver. Winston Wright, West Virginia wide receiver. Johnny Wilson from Arizona State. He's 6'7" at wide receiver. That's nuts. They got some offensive line transfers, some defensive guys as well. Some guys to watch out for that will break out, like Lawrence Toffoli and Trayshawn Ward at tailback. Ward is a big play threat. Cameron McDonald is a tight end to watch out for as well. Akeem Dent is a strong safety they have that should be very good. I think they'll fight for a bowl game. Potential for 7 wins in my opinion. Wide receivers could be a nice group. The D-line is deep with six quotation marks around this, 6 D tackles and 5 D ends that can start. So the defense has pieces around, and the offense could surprise if the quarterback play improves. We'll see if that works. Some key games are like LSU, Louisville, Boston College, Wake Forest, NC State, Clemson, Georgia Tech, Miami, and Florida. And this next one was team has a quarterback that I wanted the Steelers to draft next year, and he's a hometown kid, but I don't think they will draft him. But Boston College has Phil Jurkovec, or whatever. He's a very good quarterback. He's big, strong, very good. He also, around him, they have some good talented guys. And Pat Garwo, he's a tough and patient runner at tailback. They got Zay Flowers at wide receiver. They got a couple got good offensive linemen as well, and another good running back in Alex Sinkfield. Who has good vision and lateral quickness. Former West Virginia transfer a couple years ago. They got some good guys on defense as well. Marcus Valdez at DN and Jaden Woodby at strong safety. Like some good linebackers in Bryce Steele and Vinny De Palma and Cam Arnold. Good nickelback in Josh DeBerry. I think they're going to fight for a bowl game. They have a stud quarterback, like I mentioned, and Phil Jurkovic. I think they could even get up to 8 or 9 wins. They got some weapons on offense. The O-line is the biggest question. The linebackers are a strength, and the defense should be decently solid. So we'll see. It could be sneaky little sleeper team. Some key games are like Virginia Tech, Florida State, Louisville, Clemson, Wake, NC State, Notre Dame. A team that I think should be kind of interesting to watch and fun to watch is Syracuse. They got Garrett Schroeder at quarterback. They got a stud at running back and Sean Tucker. They got some nice pieces on defense and Mikel Jones at linebacker, and they got 2 good corners in Garrett Williams and Darren Deuce Chestnut. Some guys to watch out for offensively. They got like Courtney Jackson, Damian Alford, who's 6'6", and Anthony Queeley at wide receiver. They got defensively, they got a couple of good linebackers to watch out for as well. They got a key transfer in Jawan Price, New Mexico State running back. The offense should be very solid. Like, they got a good, solid QB, stud halfback, decent wide receivers, and a top ACC O-line. The D-line is a major weakness, though, on defense. And then linebackers and corners are great units. I think the bowl game is within reach, but we'll see how that goes. But, like, you never know. Like, there's a reason they played a game. Now, moving on to the ACC Coastal. The projected best team is Miami. You got to watch out for Tyler Van Dyke at quarterback for them. From what I've heard, he's a very good quarterback. You got to watch out for Jalen Knighton at tailback, Will Mallory at tight end. They got 2 good offensive tackles. Defensively, you got to watch out for Leonard Taylor at nose tackle, Tyreek Stevenson at corner, and James Williams at free safety. He's 6'5" and 224 pounds at safety, and that's a huge safety. They got some transfers for the portal. A lot of guys on defense, especially defensive line, that should help out. They got some breakout potential guys at wide receiver, and like one of them being Kayshawn Smith. They should be very good defensively. I think they're going to compete for the Coastal and ACC. They have a good QB, supposed to be one of the best in the country. And from what, going off of stats and what I've read and stuff, he's very good. They have weapons throughout the offense. They have a solid offensive line as well, so they should be good offensively. The D-line is a strength, and they're very deep. The secondary is good. Maybe could be great. I think they got 8 to 10 wins in them. Some key games are like Texas A&M, Virginia Tech, Virginia, Florida State, Clemson, Pitt. Speaking of Pitt, you're gonna have to prepare for the running back, Israel Abanconda. I butchered that name and I apologize. They got a very good offensive line. I listed all 5 of their projected starters as studs to prepare for. They got good defense. They got good D tackle. They got a good linebacker in Servoka Dennis. Great safety in Brandon Hill. They got a great transfer quarterback in Caden Slovis from USC. I think he is a stud. You gotta watch out for some guys that could break out, or like Vincent Davis and Ronnie Hammond at tailback, Jared Wayne at wide receiver. They got some. They got some good corners, 3 good corners that should potentially break out. Got great free safety that will break out, and Eric Hallett. Gotta watch out. Some young guys to watch out for, like Daniel Carter. He's a 240-pound tailback, and Jaden Bradley at wide receiver is another young guy to watch out for. I think they're going to compete for the Coastal and the ACC. 8 to 10 wins are possible. They got stud QB, who I believe is one of the best in the country. Running backs and the offensive linemen are good. Wide receivers could be good. D-line and secondary are big strengths, while linebackers should still be solid. Some instant classic games are like West Virginia, Tennessee, Virginia Tech, Louisville, Virginia, Miami. Watch out for that West Virginia game tomorrow night. I think that's going to be a barn burner. So the next team is North Carolina. They did play this weekend. I do believe they won. And at the time there was a quarterback battle going on when I wrote the notes up on them, but Drake May did win the competition, and he has excellent size. He was competing against Jacoby Criswell, who has a really strong arm. But some guys to watch out for on their team are like Josh Downs at wide receiver. They got Miles Murphy at D tackle, Cedric Gray at linebacker, Storm Duck and Tony Grimes at corner, and Cameron Kelly at safety. They had some guys transfer in that should help out on offensive line and on defense. Got to watch out for Brish Brooks and DJ Jones at tailback, Antonio Green at wide receiver, and Kamari Morales at tight end. Some young guys to watch out for are like George Petaway and Omarion Hampton at tailback. A couple of young wide receivers too. I wrote down that they should compete for a bowl, maybe even be a sleeper for the Coastal, 6 to 8 wins with a stud wide receiver and good line. They got young quarterbacks, but so far looks like Drake May is doing very well. The D-line and secondary should be very solid. Some key games are like Appalachian State, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, Miami, Pitt, Virginia, Wake Forest, and North Carolina State. Virginia Tech is the next team I have written about, and got to prepare for is Malachi Thomas. He's a downhill runner at tailback. They got Dax Holyfield at linebacker, along with Alan Tisdale. And they got 2 good safety in Nazir Peoples and Chamari Connor. Some newcomers to watch are like Grant Wells. He's from Marshall, quarterback, big arm, but he has interception trouble. And Jason Brown is another quarterback to watch out for. He has great size. Some guys that could break out are like Keyshawn King at tailback, along with Jalen Holston, who's powerful at 215 pounds. Caleb Smith is a wide receiver to watch out for as well. I think they're going to fight for a bowl game. Anywhere from 4 to 7 wins are possible. They got a new coaching staff. They should have a strong defense, especially at linebacker and DB. The offense could be decent, but also could hold back the team. Some key games are Boston College, West Virginia, Pitt, Miami, NC State, Georgia Tech, Duke, Virginia. Speaking of Virginia, they have a stud quarterback in Brennan Armstrong. He can make every throw and loves to compete. He's a lefty, big lefty. They got 3 good wide receivers. Dontavian Wicks, he's a dynamic, deep threat. Billy Kemp and Keaton Thompson, who's actually just listed as a football player on their roster. And on defense, you got to watch out for Nick Jackson at Mike. They got a running back transfer in Cody Brown from Miami, Florida. You should watch out for him. Mike Collins is a potential breakout running back as well. And they got some other, the defense looks like it should be pretty solid. I think they're going to compete for a bowl game. They have a stud QB, like I said. They got weapons out wide. Offense will be very explosive, even with the questionable O-line and halfbacks. The defense should be decent with pieces throughout. I think it's 5 to 7 wins, maybe even 8. Some key games are Illinois, Syracuse, Louisville, Miami, Pitt, Coastal Carolina, and Virginia Tech. Um, Georgia Tech, on the other hand, I think they have a stud quarterback in Jeff Sims. Um, he was part of this change in the type of offense they run and rebuilding the culture. You also got to watch out for Malachi Carter at wide receiver. He's a contested catcher and he's a technical route runner. They got a couple decent linebackers, such as like Charlie Thomas is one of them. Um, Let me see. Some breakout guys to watch are like Dante Smith. He's at tailback. Keon White at the end, along with Kyle Kennard and Kevin Harris. And some young guys to watch out for are like Leon Blackburn. He has great size and is good catch radius. And Jaquez Leftwich at right tackle, I believe he is slated to start. I think they could potentially fight for a bowl game. 3 to 6 wins. I believe they have a very good quarterback if he could stay healthy. The linebackers are talented, and the D-line has the talent to finish in the top half of the ACC, according to what Phil Steele has like inquired about and written about. Some games to watch out for are UCF, Pitt, Duke, Virginia, Florida State, Virginia Tech, and North Carolina, Georgia. Duke is the last school in the ACC. They got Jalen Calhoun at wide receiver, Jacob Monk at right guard to watch out for. Shaka Hayward is a middle linebacker. That's one of the best in the ACC and NFL caliber. They got RJ Oben at D end and Dwayne Carter as at D tackle as well. Some guys to watch out for that could break out are like Jordan Moore at quarterback and Riley Leonard as well. To both quarterbacks. Got a couple wide receivers, some linebackers. I think they're going to get 3 to 5 wins. It'll be a tough year with the new staff and not many weapons on offense that are proven. And the defense should be okay, especially at linebacker. Like I said, they have an NFL caliber one and one of the best in the ACC. But it's going to be hard for them. Like Duke is like an Ivy League school and a non-Ivy League conference. I think some key games are going to be like Temple, Kansas, Virginia, and Georgia Tech. And now we're going to move on to the Big 12 here. And Oklahoma is the top team in the Big 12. Even with the loss of Lincoln Riley. You got to watch out for Eric Gray at tailback, Marvin Menz, Theo Wees at wide receiver. They got some good guys on defense and Justin Broyles at nickelback and Key Lawrence at free safety. And they also have Chris Murray at right guard, who is very solid. Newcomers to watch, Dylan Gabriel, UCF former quarterback. He's still currently a quarterback, but he's from UCF. He has a powerful arm, and he knows the offense because I believe the offensive coordinator was originally offensive coordinator at UCF before. They got a couple wide receiver transfers and tight end. They got some good quality transfers, which will help with what they lost to USC and some other schools with Lincoln Riley leaving. Some breakout guys to watch out for are like Marcus Major at tailback, Drake Stoops at wide receiver, Braden Willis at tight end, Wanya Morris at right tackle, Antoine Harrison at left tackle. They got a couple linebackers like Judge Sean White and David Aguobi, and a couple corners in David Graham and Woody Washington. Some young guys to watch out for are like Javante Barnes and Gavin Sawchuk. Wide receivers, Cody Jackson, Jaden Gibson, Nick Anderson, Jaleel Farik. I think they're going to have 10 wins or more. Big 12 champs and could make the college football playoff. New staff, though. Stud quarterback. Pieces around him that will make a great offense with a good line. The defense will be good, but they are in the pass happy Big 12, so they're gonna be like one of the top defenses in the Big 12 though, so that's good. Gotta watch out for the games for against Nebraska, Kansas State, Texas, Baylor, Oklahoma State. Um, Speaking of Baylor, you gotta watch out for two tight ends for them, Ben Sims and Drake Dabney, two good tight ends. They got some pieces on the offensive line. They got three studs at each spot on the defense. Siaki Apu Ika at nose, Dylan Doyle at Mike, and Al Walcott at corner. Some breakout guys to watch out for are like at quarterback Blake Shapen. He has great arm strength. Matt Jones at weak side linebacker and Grant Miller at right guard. They got a couple young running backs to watch out for. I think they're and some wide receivers as well. I think they're going to compete for the Big 12 with 8 to 10 wins. The tight ends and O-line are the strengths of the offense. The QB, I think, could break out. He had a good Big 12 championship game and forced the last year's starting quarterback to transfer. I think the defense should be strong. The linebackers and D-line are good to great units as well. Key games are like, gotta stretch there for a second. Key games are BYU, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Kansas State, and Texas. Speaking of the team they beat in the Big 12 championship last year is Oklahoma State. You got to prepare for quarterback and Spencer Sanders. He's a stud. Brennan Presley at wide receiver. The offensive line is led by Hunter Woodard. They got two good DNs in Colin Oliver and Brock Martin. Actually, three. I misspoke. They also have Tyler Lacey. DeAndre Jackson is a running back from Texas A&M that transferred in. You gotta watch out for. And some guys that could break out are like Dominic Richardson at tailback. At wide receiver, they got Jaden Bray, Rashad Owens, Braden Johnson, Blaine Green is actually a cowboy position, which is like a tight end, wide receiver type role. Kind of more like tight end, H-back. They got some good D linemen as well, some linebackers like Mason Cobb and Lamont Bishop. They got a couple of good pieces in the secondary as well. Some young guys to watch out for are like C.J. Brown and Ollie Gordon at tailback. Braylon Presley is a wide receiver. He's brother of Brennan, so you gotta watch out for him. I think they're gonna have 8 to 10 wins, competing for the Big 12. The D-line is one of the best in the nation, and the rest of the defense has potential to be good as well. The offense should be normal, Oklahoma State level offense, especially with the veteran quarterback and Spencer Sanders. And I think they're going to be very good around them, and they got like very good and young pieces around them, and I think they're going to do well. Key games are like Baylor, Texas, Kansas State, Iowa State, Oklahoma, and West Virginia. Texas is a team that everybody's gonna say is back. Oh, Texas is back. Blah, 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 blah. Like it happens every year. Are they back? I don't know. We'll see. They got Bijan Robinson, Heisman hopeful, one of the best running backs in the country. Backing him up is Rashawn Johnson, good solid running back. Got a good wide receiver in Xavier Worthy. They got some good guys on offensive line. They got some good defensive linemen led by Keandre Coburn at 336 pounds. They got some good linebackers like Luke Brockermeyer and DeMarvin Overshone. Good safety in Anthony Cook. Some newcomers to watch out for are like Quinn Ewers, quarterback from Ohio State. He won the starting job over Hudson Card, who I think is a breakout candidate. Some wide receivers that transferred in are like Isaiah Neer from Wyoming. I believe he got hurt. Ajayi Hall from Bama. I think he had trouble with the law though, so those guys might not, still have a big effect on him. Jaleel Billingsley is a tight end from Bama. one to watch out for. And then they had Ryan Watts from Ohio State transfer in at cornerback for them. Keelan Robinson is a breakout running back to watch out for, and a wide receiver to watch out for is Jordan Whittington, and a tight end is Tavian Sanders. So they should still be very good offensively. I think they're going to get 8 to 10 wins with the potential to win the Big 12, or compete for the Big 12, I should say. I think whoever starts at quarterback most of the year will have good numbers with an excellent receiving core around them and a stud running back with good depth behind them. Like, they have a very good group of running backs. The defense should be solid with decent pieces for out, and the online should improve, but they have some tough games like against Bama, Oklahoma State, Baylor, and then you got games to watch out for against West Virginia, Iowa State, and Kansas State. Speaking of Kansas State, they have a stud running back, and oh my gosh, I almost mispronounced his name. And Deuce Vaughn, stud. He's like 5'7", but he is electric. He is a beast. He has a good offensive line led by Cooper Beebe. They have some good defensive linemen, and led by Felix Duke Uzuma and Eli Huggins. Excuse me. And they have Daniel Green at Mike, and they got 2 good cornerbacks in Iko Bordeaux and Julius Brents. They had a good, I think, a quarterback that is a stud, and Adrian Martinez transferring from Nebraska. They had some other good quality transfers. They also have a good backup quarterback in Will Howard. He's 6'5", 242 pounds. They have the running back depth behind Deuce Vaughn isn't that good. They have a former fullback in Jax Denon at tailback. He's like 253 pounds. They got some wide receivers I think could break out in Phillip Brooks, Malik Knowles, and Caden Warner, who is actually Kurt Warner's the quarterback. It's his son. They also have Sterling Lockett as a true freshman coming in. He's at wide receiver. He's Tyler Lockett's younger brother. I think they're going to have 7 to 10 wins and could be a sleeper for the Big 12 championship. Their QB, like I said, I believe Adrian Martinez is a stud. Tailback, Deuce Vaughn is a stud. The wide receivers are decent. The O-line is solid as well. The defense should be good, but it could possibly be great, especially up front, specifically at the defensive line. Some key games are going to be like against Missouri, Oklahoma, Iowa State, TCU, Oklahoma State, Texas, Baylor, and West Virginia. Iowa State is another team that I think should be solid. They did lose 2 very good key pieces in Brock Purdy and Brees Hall, but they still have Xavier Hutchinson at wide receiver. They have Jared Russ at fullback, Trevor Downing at center. They have Orion Vance at Mike, and Anthony Johnson at free safety, so I think they should still be good. They had some good quality transfers come in. Some breakout players I think you need to watch out for: Adriel Brock at tailback, Jalen Newell at wide receiver, and then on defense they have Isaiah Lee at nose guard, Gary Vaughn at linebacker, TJ Tampa, Miles Purchase, and Tavon Kyle at corner. Hunter Deckers is a young quarterback to watch out for. He is supposedly a special talent, and a young running back to watch out for as well is Cartavius Norton. He's a physical runner with a high ceiling, and I think they're gonna be do like very good even with the heavy losses from what has been one of the most successful runs in college football for Iowa State in a while. But I think they're going to do 5 to 8 wins. They're a solid program under Matt Campbell. They lose a lot on both sides of the ball. The running back should be good still with his history. Even at Toledo, he had good running backs. Could turn them out, but there's no proven running backs right now. There's a wide receiver that's a stud. Like I said, Xavier Hutchinson, stud. The defense should be solid with pieces everywhere, and it's always been good under Campbell so far. Some key games are like Iowa, Baylor, Kansas State, Texas, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, TCU. And speaking of TCU, some guys to watch out for them are Keandre Miller at tailback, Quentin Johnson at wide receiver. They got some good quality players on defense, especially at corner, and Noah Daniels. He's an NFL caliber guy. They got some running back transfers and Imani Bailey from Louisiana and Corey Wren from Florida State. That should be very good. They got some other quality transfers throughout the team. Some breakout guys are like Chandler Morris at quarterback. He's projected to start, I believe. Max Dugan is number 5 all-time passer at TCU. They got some quality wide receivers such as Darius Davis, who has elite speed. Some young guys to watch out for are like Sam Jackson at quarterback. His like only pass he had last year was like a 60-some yard touchdown. Um, 2 young wide receivers such as Jordan Hudson and DJ Allen are ones to watch out for. I think they're gonna have 5 to 8 wins, possibly. I think they're gonna have good QB play regardless who starts. They have quality halfbacks and wide receivers as well, and the wide receivers have great yards per catch. And I think the defense should be decent with they got pieces throughout the defense, so I think they should be decent. Some key games are like Colorado, SMU, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, West Virginia, Texas, Baylor. Now to my favorite school, West Virginia, some guys to prepare for. I mean, hopefully the Pitt coaches don't watch this video. They probably won't, but some guys to prepare for them are like Sam James and Bryce Ford Wheaton at wide receiver, Zach Frazier at center, James Gitmer at left guard, Wyatt Millum at left tackle, Taj Austin at D end, Dante Stills at D tackle. Some key guys coming in are like JT Daniels, he's a starting quarterback, transfer from Georgia. They got some other guys supposed to start, like a lot of guys in the secondary transferring in, supposed to be key. Watch Garrett Green is a guy that could break out so at quarterback. Nice little running threat, change of pace quarterback. Tony Mathis, Justin Johnson are some tailbacks to watch out for. Some wide receivers that could break out in the new scheme under Graham Harrell are like Caden Prather and Reese Smith. Michael Loughlin is a tight end to watch out for. They got a couple good Doug Nestor and Brandon Yates are some offensive linemen that could break out. And Lance Dixon and Extree Lowe are some linebackers to watch out for. They got a good young quarterback that I don't know if he'll play much, but Nico Markula. I'll probably butcher that name so bad, and I apologize profusely for that. And they got some other like young guys that could be contributors, such as like Jalen Anderson at halfback. I think they got 5 to 8 wins. Phil Steele claims they have a stud QB. I think he could be, but I still have doubts. I hope I'm proven wrong. I'm sorry, JT Daniels. I have my doubts, but I think you should do pretty solid. I mean, you've had Graham Harrell as a coach before, so I think the O-line and D-line are supposed to be some of the... Wait, hold on. From what I've read, and what I've been read from Phil Steele, and what I believe, and how much faith I have in his opinion and his word, the O-line and D-line of West Virginia are supposed to be some of the best in the Big 12. They got good weapons. I believe they got good weapons at wide receiver and could be solid at tailback. Linebackers lack the depth, and the secondary is versatile, but no proven depth. I think it could be a sleeper, but I think not every year. So, yeah. Some key games are like Pitt, Virginia Tech, Texas, Baylor, TCU, Iowa State, Oklahoma, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State. The next team in the Big 12 to go over is Texas Tech. You got not compare prepare for quarterback Tyler Shaw, halfback Taj Brooks, wide receiver Miles Price, who's a home run threat. They got some good pieces on defense like Tyree Wilson at end, Jalen Hutchings at nose tackle, Krishawn Merriweather at Mike, and a couple guys in the secondary as well. They got Baylor Cup from Texas A&M, tight end. He's transferring in, should contribute. Watch out for Donovan Smith. He's a 6'5", 240-pound quarterback that could break out. So Roderick Thompson's at tailback that could break out. Got a couple wide receivers that are pretty big and should break out as well. I think 5 to 7 wins. They got a new staff, but they have pieces throughout the team. The D-line and secondary seem like strengths. Weapons at wide receiver and tailback. Whoever's at QB should have a good year. The O-line is a bit questionable, though. Some games to watch out for are like Houston, NC State, Texas, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Baylor, TCU, Iowa State, and Oklahoma. The last team in the Big 12 to go over is Kansas. You got Devin Neal to prepare for at tailback. They got some good offensive linemen in Earl Bostic at left tackle, Mike Nowitzki at center. They got some guys on each level of the defense, and Caleb Sampson at D tackle, Rich Miller at Mike, and Kenny Logan at safety. They got some transfers at tailback that should help, and like defensively as well. Quarterbacks that could break out that they have are like Jalen Daniels and Jason Bean. Two good tight ends, I believe, and Mason Fairchild and Jared Casey as well. I think 2 to 4 wins, maybe even 5. Kansas is Kansas, though, but I think they could pull some upsets. The O-line is one of the Big 12's most underrated, according to Phil Steele, and I believe that because he writes a college football Bible, like the college football preview Bible. The halfbacks are strong and they have potential at wide receiver and tight end. They have some pieces on defense, especially on a D-line and linebacker, and I think the quarterback play should be good. Some key games are like West Virginia, Houston, Duke, Iowa State, TCU, pretty much the whole Big 12 conference that they have. Like, each game is going to be key for Kansas. And now on to the Pac-12, starting with the Pac-12 South. Excuse me. So, Utah, I think, is going to be the cream of the crop in the Pac-12 this year. I prepare for Cameron Rising. He's very mobile and he has great leadership. So they also have 2 solid running backs, and Tavion Thomas, who's 6'2", 238. He actually started at corner in the Rose Bowl. I mean, Utah did get torched by Ohio State, but just knowing that like you're starting running back and start at corner on the highest level of college football just shows how good athletic he is. And he's 6'2", 238 pounds. You also have Micah Bernard at tailback. They got 2 great tight ends in Brant and Dalton Kincaid. They got like a solid offensive line. Their defense is good. They got Clark Phillips at corner and Cole Bishop at strong safety. They actually had some transfers on defense coming in, and big one is Gabe Reed from Stanford. He's he's a DN and linebacker. Some breakout guys to watch out for are Chris Curry at tailback, Devon Veely at wide receiver, and Solomon Ennis at wide receiver. Kareem Reed is a rover on our defense to watch out for. 9 to 12 wins. I think they're going to compete for the Pac-12, maybe even the college football playoff. They always are solid running the ball and return a rising star at quarterback, That's from Phil Steele's write up about them. A little play on words there. They're always good defensively, and they should have a great D line as usual. Some key games are like Florida, San Diego State, Arizona State, UCLA, USC, Stanford, Oregon. Um, I talked about earlier about how Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma. Now we talk about the team he went to at USC. Some studs to prepare for. Taj Washington at wide receiver, Malcolm Epps at tight end, Andrew Voorhees, or Vore, I think I miswrote his name there in my notes, but at left guard, and they got a good nose tackle in Tuli Tilapuluto. I think I said that wrong. Some newcomers to watch are like, there's a lot of them. Caleb Williams, quarterback from Oklahoma. Travis Dye, running back from Oregon. He's a good stud quarterback. Austin Jones from Stanford, tailback. Mario Williams, wide receiver, Oklahoma. Brendan Rice, wide receiver from Colorado. Jordan Addison, Pitt, wide receiver. I forgot to mention how they lost him earlier, but he Bolentikoff winner. They got guys all over the defense coming in. I'm going to highlight Mekhi Blackman, corner from Colorado, and Bryson Shaw from Ohio State. He's a free safety. Those are two guys supposed to start. There's numerous other ones as well. Some breakout guys to watch out for, like Darwin Barlow, tailback. Gary Bryant, Kyle Ford are two wide receivers to watch out for. Some young guys to watch out for are Raleek Brown at tailback and Damani Jackson at corner. They got some other young guys to watch out for as well. I think they're gonna get 7 to 10 wins. Could compete for the South and even Pac-12. They got a new staff, lots of impact transfers. Lincoln Riley always has great offenses, so they should score a lot, especially with stud quarterback and studs at halfback and wide receiver. I mean, a lot of them are transfers, so that'll be interesting. The O-line should be decent as well. The defense should be solid, but most likely more of a bend, don't break type than anything. Some key games are like Stanford, Fresno State, ASU, Utah, Cal, UCLA, Notre Dame. Speaking of the main rival across town in UCLA, Dorian Thompson Robinson is a stud quarterback and one to watch out for. Same as Zach Charbonnet at tailback. They had some transfers coming in, especially on defense. On defensive line, they have the Murphy brothers and Gabriel and Grayson. They're like outside linebackers, DN types. And like a couple guys to watch out for offensively that could break out because Mayer Allen and Cam Brown are wide receivers. They got some good linebackers led by Bo Calvert and Brandon Ollie Cahoe. 7 to 9 wins. They could compete for the South. They got studs at QB and tailback and DTR and Charbonnet. And they could have some decent wide receivers. The tight end room is the deepest on the team, but not the deepest on the team is from Phil Steele's magazine, the college football preview, which I highly recommend you guys get. But I don't think there is a standout in the tight end room as of right now. The defense should be solid with the influx of transfers, especially out at outside linebacker. Which is they run like a 3-4 scheme like the Steelers do, so their outside linebackers rush the passer most of the time. Some games to watch out for are Colorado, Washington, Utah, Oregon, Stanford, USC, Cal. Another team that should be pretty solid in the Pac-12 is Arizona State. You gotta watch out for Darius Henderson, their left guard, and two linebackers, and Merlin Robertson and Kyle Solali. newcomers to watch are like Emory Jones, quarterback from Florida. I think he's a very good quarterback. Bear Bryant's grandson, Paul Tyson, transferred from Bama to try to win a quarterback job here. They got Wyoming tailback transfer and Xavier Valade, and they got some other key transfers, especially on the offensive line, which would help out, and some defensive guys, such as like Chris Edmonds from Sanford. He was FCS All-American, free safety. Some guys that I think could break out are like Daniel Gata, his tailback. His brother is wide receiver at Clemson that I mentioned earlier. And Antonio Cooper, he was a defensive end. A young guy to watch out for is Tevin White at tailback. I think they're going to get 5 to 7 wins. I feel like they lost too much for transfers and stuff to compete for the South. I think they should make a bowl game with a quality QB and a solid running game. They need wide receivers to step up. I don't think they really have anybody at wide receiver. And they need the O-line transfers to gel as well, because they're leaning heavily on the transfers. I think the defense should be solid. They have some quality pieces everywhere on defense. Some games to watch out for are like Oklahoma State, Utah, USC, Washington, Stanford, Colorado, UCLA, Oregon State. Their rivals, Arizona. It's going to be a tough year for them, I believe. They got some pieces defensively, and Keon Bars, he's a D tackle. Jalen Harris at DN. Christian Young, who's a safety, and Chris Roland Wallace at corner. Key newcomers are like Jaden DeLora, quarterback from Washington State. Jacob Cohen, who wide receiver from UTEP. He was 4th team All-American. They got some guys on defense that should help out as well. You watch out for like Michael Wiley and Drake Anderson at tailback. And at safety, they got Jackson Turner and Jaden Young at free safety to watch out for on defense. They got a couple of young running backs that could contribute early, and actually quite a few decent young guys that should help out early on. I think they're going to get around 3 wins. Their QB is good. They don't have a main running back. They might be decent at wide receiver. O-line is not the greatest. The D-line is not too bad. The secondary is the best unit on the defense, and they look good, but the linebackers are weak. I think it'll be another rough year, but they should improve upon their 1-11 season, I think. Some key games are like San Diego State, North Dakota State, Cal, Washington State, Arizona State. Gotta grab a drink here real quick. Some teams to watch out for. Oh, shoot. Misspoke. The next team, Colorado, some people to watch out for on their team is Alex Fontenot, the tailback, Brady Russell, tight end, Quinn Perry, Mike linebacker, Isaiah Lewis, strong safety. They got some transfers coming in that should help. Especially Josh Chandler, Samito, linebacker from West Virginia. Some breakout guys I think could break out is like Brendan Lewis and JT Strout at quarterback. Jalen Samey, nose tackle. He's 6'6", 325. Naeem Rodman at D tackle as well, and Terrence Lang at DN. They got some young guys that are coming in that should help out. I think they're going to get around 3 wins, maybe 4. They should have a decent running game and solid defense, but the defense is young in the secondary, and the front 7 should be solid. The offense really has nothing besides tailback and quarterback. The quarterback can run well, and I think that, speaking of Brendan Lewis, and he has like a 10-3 TD interception ratio. Some key games are like TCU, Air Force, Minnesota, Arizona, UCLA, Cal, Oregon State, Arizona State, and Washington. And the last part of this should be the last part of this very long preview is the Pac-12 North. So starting out with Oregon, you got good offensive line and led by Alex Forsyth, Ryan Walk, and TJ Bass, center, guard, and tackle respectively. They got good D end in Brandon Dorless and a stud linebacker in Noah Sewell. Some got key transfers are like Bo Nix at quarterback from Auburn, and they got a couple guys at tailback that should help out with the loss of Travis Dye and CJ Verdell. Some guys that could break out are like Brian Cardwell and Sean Dollars at tailback. At wide receiver, Chris Hudson, Seven McGee, Troy Franklin, Dante Thornton. They got some like guys on defense that should break out as well, such as Popo Muave, that nose guard, Justin Flo at linebacker, Jamal Hill at nickel, and Steve Stevens at safety. Some young guys to watch out for like Ty Thompson at quarterback and Jordan James at tailback. I think they're going to get 8 to 10 wins. They'll compete for the Pac-12, but I don't think they have enough to compete for the college football playoff. They will have a great offensive line, solid QB play, and the halfbacks should be good, but the wide receivers are unproven, and the new staff is, I don't know. Dan Lanning was the D coordinator for Georgia, so the staff might not be like, I don't know if they're gonna be stellar on offense, not much, but the defense should be very solid. They looks to be like a very good front seven, and they have a stud middle linebacker in Noah Sewell, and like they have very quality pieces around them. The secondary will be the weakness on defense, but like they should still be solid with Lanning's history as D coordinator. And speaking of his history, they played Georgia like week 1. BYU is another key game, as well as Stanford, UCLA, Cal, Washington, Utah, Oregon State. Moving on to the next team in Washington, you gotta watch out for Jalen McMillan and Rome Odunze at wide receiver. Jackson Kirkland is a right tackle that is going to be key to how well they do. They got some good pieces on defense as well. Michael Penix is a transfer from Indiana at quarterback that will be competing against Dylan Morris and Sam Hurd at quarterback. Some guys to watch out for are like Cameron Davis and Richard Newton that could break out at tailback. Jalen Polk is a wide receiver that could break out, and Devin Culp is a tight end that could be. They got some very good solid linebackers like led by Carson Bruner. Alex Cook is a good safety that should break out. I think they're going to get around 7 wins. They have some pieces on offense and defense, but I don't think they have any stars. The QB play will be interesting. Like the QB situation, I should say, not QB play, because like the new staff has success with QBs before, so it should be interesting to see how what they do. And then the halfback should improve, and then if the QBs, wide receivers, and a tight end. Well, hold on, let me rephrase that. I read my notes a little wrong. If the QBs improve, the wide receivers and tight ends will as well. The O-line has a few pieces and should be solid. The defense should be good, with the D-line looking good and the linebackers looking kind of decent. The secondary will be down since they lost a good amount, but they should still be solid. Some key games are like Michigan State, Stanford, UCLA, Arizona State, Cal, Oregon State, Oregon, Washington State. Oregon State is a team that I think will be pretty good. Chance Nolan is their quarterback that is supposed to start. He's very mobile. He was honorable mention Pac-12 last year. They got a good running back in Deshaun Fenwick. They got a wide receiver in Trayshawn Harrison that should be good, and a good tight end, Luke Musgrave. They got good offensive line, good defense, especially in the secondary. Alex Austin, Rajon Wright at corner, and Kitten Odapo at safety. Tristan Giba is a quarterback that they have that should be the backup. Should be pretty good. They got some wide receivers that should be good as well. Defensively, they have some good linebackers as well. I think they're going to get 7 to 9 wins. They have a solid rushing attack with good O-line and solid halfbacks. Good tight end. The wide receiver by committee last year with 9 having 185 plus yards, so their experience. The QB should be solid and do the job. The defense has some pieces and should be solid, especially the DBs and linebackers. Some games to watch out are for our Boise State, Fresno State, USC, Utah, Stanford, Washington State, Washington, Cal, Oregon. A team that will be very solid is Stanford. They have who I believe is a stud quarterback in Tanner McKee. He's 6'6", 226. They have a wide receiver in Elijah Higgins at 6'3", 250 at wide receiver. They have a good tight end in Benjamin Yorsick. They got a decent offensive line that should improve. Levani Damuni at linebacker and Caillou Blue Kelly at corner. Pat Fields from Oklahoma. He's a free safety that's transferring in. That should help. Some breakout guys to watch out for are like EJ Smith, who's Emmitt Smith's son at tailback, and Casey Filkins as well. They got some wide receivers that should break out as well. Tobin Phillips is a D tackle to watch out for, and Stephen Heron. Kendall Williamson at nickelback. Jonathan McGill at strong safety. A young guy to watch out for is Arlen Harris. He's a running back. And Sam Roush at tight end. David Bailey and Ernest Cooper at DN, as well as Austin Yuki at D tackle. I think they're going to get 5 to 8 wins. They're always a solid program. They have, like I said, they have a stud at quarterback in Tanner McKee. They got big, strong wide receivers and tight ends. The O-line should improve, and the running game should be solid, if not great, as per Stanford standards. The defense should improve because it is Stanford, and there are some solid pieces on each level. Some key games are like USC, Washington, Oregon, Oregon State, Notre Dame, UCLA, Utah, Cal, BYU. I think there's only 2 more teams left for the Pac-12 North here, and one is Cal. Damian Moore, tailback, got to prepare for him. They got to prepare for their secondary and with their corners Lamiga Hearns and Colin Gamble, and their safety Daniel Scott. You got to watch out for the transfer from Purdue at quarterback and Jake Plummer. They got some other transfers to help out throughout the team. Some guys to watch out for like Jeremiah Hunter at wide receiver, Ethan Saunders at the end, Brett Johnson at the end, Femi Oladejo at linebacker, as they got a couple other good solid linebackers as well. Some young guys to watch out for is like Jaden Ott at tailback and Marvin Anderson, Michael Sturdivant at wide receiver, and Jermaine Terry at tight end, and DeJohn Butler at nickelback. I think they're going to get 5 to 7 wins. They're going to have a solid defense with pieces on each level. They should be really good at linebacker and corner. The offense should be okay with good QB, and hopefully development of the wide receivers. Halfback should be solid, and O-line should be as well. Some key games are like Notre Dame, Washington State, Colorado, Washington, Oregon, USC, Oregon State, Stanford, UCLA. The last team in this Pac-12 and in this college football preview is Washington State. Some studs to prepare for are like Renard Bell at wide receiver, Dejon Stribling at receiver as well. The DNs and Brennan Jackson and Ron Stone, and nickelback Armani Marsh. Some key transfers. There's a few of them on defense, such as like Jordan Lee from Nevada at strong safety, and Cam Lampkin from Utah State at corner. But the biggest and most important transfer is Cameron Ward from Incarnate Ward, who is a quarterback, FCS All-American. His former head coach is down to new offensive coordinator here. Some breakout players are like Nakia Watson, tailback. He did okay at Wisconsin a few years ago, and he was at Washington State last year. Um, Lincoln Victor and Donovan Ollie are two wide receivers to watch out for. Andrew Edson is a DN to watch out for as well. And they got a couple corners to watch out for, and Derek Langford and Charles Smith Wade. I think they're going to get 3 to 6 wins. They should have a decent offense with weapons at wide receiver, and they have a stud QB in Cameron Ward, and like he should gel well with in the offense with his new the old head coach being his new offensive coordinator. Running back should be solid. The O line might be a little weak to start out with losing their two tackles, which were really good. The defense has some pieces, especially at D line, and they have three good DNs. The linebackers are going to be solid. The secondary lost a lot, so Phil Steele's predicting a large drop in his PDR. That's his pass defense ranking. It's a very good ranking, I believe. I'll go into that some other time because this has been a very long video. Some instant classics that are going to be key games for them is like Wisconsin, Oregon, Cal, USC, Oregon State, Utah, Stanford, Arizona State, and Washington. This has been a very long video. My longest podcast episode ever. Gotta stretch. So I don't know if I will do a group of 5 preview tomorrow or not, or this coming, like before the season, like week 1 kicks off on Saturday. But I do think this has gone well, and this will be a learning experience on how I should do it next year. Maybe we should break it up by conferences, or like split up 2 conferences per video. I hope you guys enjoyed it some. Hope you learned some stuff, and I hope you guys are ready for some great football. And it starts Thursday night, West Virginia, Pitt, ESP. Like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Have a good one. Enjoy some college football, please.